I'm sure by now we've all seen a Chevy Cobalt somewhere, whether it was on the road, the game Midnight Club for all the level 1 players out there, or maybe you saw this car at a mechanic shop near you as they weren't the most reliable. Neither did they have the best reputation for being a car that the younger generation was into, and the early 2000s saw GM Motors tired of that narrative, so they gathered a team of their performance experts and asked them to turn this 4-door sedan that looks like a grandma's car into a sporty, supercharged beast that could smoke the competition such as the Honda Civics that grew in fame, especially since the release of the first Fast and the Furious movie with those 3 Civics and that truck scene. But the result of all those restless nights and the hard work the team at GM had put in was the introduction of the first generation Chevrolet Cobalt SS, making this car GM's very first foray into the tuner market. And yes, they even stamped their iconic SS badge, which stands for Super Sport, on this car to let the consumer know that they mean business with this vehicle. And the first generation Chevy Cobalt SS came available only in a coupe, equipped with a 2-liter supercharged engine producing 205 horsepower, available only in a manual transmission. Which, by the way, for the late 2000s, the horsepower number at 205 was actually very impressive on a compact car like this. But the following year in 2005, Chevy introduced their second trim of the Chevrolet Cobalt SS, and this trim was now equipped with a naturally aspirated 2.4-liter engine producing 171 horsepower, and the slower version came available in both a coupe and a sedan body style, alongside an automatic transmission or a manual transmission that you could choose from. And I'm sure, just like me, you're wondering why did they lower the horsepower on the second generation Cobalts, and that's because the supercharger version was still being produced, but Chevy wanted this car to be more affordable so the new generation could purchase it. And the consumers did definitely enjoy the supercharged 2-liter engine, and it was generally loved, but General Motors wanted to push the boundaries with this vehicle, so they ended production of the supercharged engines in 2007, and after a brief restructuring of the engine, they came back with a brand new 3rd generation Chevy Cobalt SS, now equipped with a more efficient and more powerful 2-liter turbocharged engine, producing an impressive 260 horsepower, helping this car to do the 0 to 60 in just 5.5 seconds, and a quarter mile in a respectable 13.9 seconds, making it impressive, especially for a 4-banger front-wheel drive car. And as far as flaws for this car goes, one of the main criticisms this car received was the outdated interior of the vehicle, which honestly looked like any other Chevrolet from that time. Like, I remember sitting in a Chevy Malibu from the same time, and the interior is almost identical, down to the steering wheel and everything. And because of that, the younger generation could not find themselves falling in love with this car the way Chevy had initially hoped, resulting in poor sales, which in return forced Chevrolet to cut production on all their Chevy Cobalt trims and start fresh with a new car called the Chevy Cruze. Unfortunately for GM fans, the Cruze did not come with a tuner version of its own like the Cobalt did, but what that car did come with was a lot of oil consumption and blown head gasket problems, forcing that car to stop production in early 2019 as well. And overall, I personally think given enough time, this car will become a future classic car that collectors would love to have in their collection, just like the Dodge Neon SRT4 of the same generation. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more content like this.